We turn now to another family secret, perhaps revealed right here tonight. Millions of you might know the real-life story, the book, the movie, Into the Wild, about a 24-year-old son lost in the Alaskan wilderness, forced to seek shelter in an abandoned bus. We knew what he lived through, stranded, but did we know what he was running from? Bob Woodruff with a major new twist tonight, taking us back to that bus, back into the wild tonight.
The Alaskan interior is remote and wild, but there are family secrets that lie buried off this lonely stretch of road. Secrets about a story so many people think they know so well.
You just start making your way in. Okay.
Good, get on.
Very special this time, taking two of my sisters, taking Sean and Shelley with me.
Today, these three sisters are retracing the steps of their famous brother, a young hiker named Chris McCandless.
You ready, you three sisters?
Rock and roll! Rock and roll!
Chris's 2-year odyssey across the American West and into the wilderness here was immortalized in a book, required reading in schools across the country, and then an award-winning movie called Into the Wild.
Is there anybody here? Guess not!
It's the tale of a man played by Emil Hirsch, looking remarkably like Chris, bright, educated, compassionate, and full of promise, who gave up creature comforts in search of adventure.
I don't need money. Makes people cautious.
A modern-day Daniel Boone, James Dean, and Huck Finn all rolled into one. The sisters' journey in their brother's footsteps will be by chopper. It took Chris 4 days to cross this same snowy terrain. After 20 minutes or so, we finally spot it. A bus, Chris's final stop, literally frozen in time, a shrine. It's breathtaking, so very empty.
All you can hear is the river.
Ready? As hard as I'll ever be.
And somehow, so haunted.
Who's this, by the way?
Well, I think this was Chris's Bible.
The abandoned bus sits on a bluff at the end of an old mining trail. Chris's goal was to survive here for 100 days, living off only the land. On day 43, he shot a moose. When he recorded it in his daily journal, he was exuberant.
He always said, you know, nature might be harsh in its honesty, but it never lies to you.
But by day 100, he wrote, "Death looms. Too weak to walk out. Have literally become trapped in the wild." He was in a weakened state, unable to find enough food. He died here of starvation. He has been criticized for being selfish and unprepared. He was there without a map, without proper gear, and without telling a soul. Still, every spring, young hikers make the 2-day trek to the bus.
And something about being here brings out something deep within them.
Chris's voyage has inspired many, a young man who lived by his ideals and gave his life for it.
Live before you die. You know, how many of us actually do that? How many of us actually live? Or do we just exist?
It kind of taps into this longing to wander or to do something unconventional or just live a different life.
But the sisters say there is something that both those who admonish and admire Chris don't know. Tonight, for the first time, they tell what they say is a vital part of the story, one they think better explains why he was here all alone.
He wanted to really separate himself from a situation that he felt was very toxic.
It was something Corrine didn't want to talk about back in 1997 when 2020 first interviewed her soon after her brother died.
People try to focus a lot on what it was with Chris and why he did what he did, and they look for something that's going to be sensational. But of course, it's nothing I'm going to get into.
But now, in Corrine's new memoir, The Wild Truth, she says that Chris's journey stemmed from dark family secrets, the traumatic childhood that she says she and Chris shared.
Why did you write this book?
Frankly, I was asked every time I met with a different group of people why Chris left the way he did. I really watered down those answers for a long time. I really felt and learned that I was doing a disservice to him and a disservice to all of those people, because the greatest inspiration comes from truth.
The truth, Corrine says, doesn't begin at the bus, but rather at this house some 3,000 miles away in El Segundo, California. Chris was Corrine's adored older brother.
He was my protector. He was always strong. He succeeded at everything he tried.
The McCandlesses were a portrait of happiness. Dad, Walt, was a renowned rocket scientist who had worked for NASA. Mom, Billy, built the consulting business with him. Corrine fondly remembers family vacations and peaceful times spent outdoors.
Our parents introduced us to nature very early on. We did a lot of tent camping and a lot of hiking.
Chris was confident and charismatic.
People were drawn to Chris.
The captain of the high school cross-country team, an avid reader, and a music lover. But family life for him had been much more complicated than it appeared. When Walt started having children with Billy, he was still having children with his first wife, Marcia. Shauna is Walt and Marcia's third child.
Both women were pregnant at the same time. I think a lot of people don't realize that.
In fact, when Chris and Corine were born, Walt was still married to his first wife, dividing his time between the two homes 30 miles apart.
Your father really had kind of a double life.
He did, but it's funny because even as a little girl, that was just what I knew. This was a man that was in and out of our house. He would spend 4 or 5 days or how many with us, and then he'd be gone for a while. And then he'd come back.
Walt and Marcia finally divorced when Chris was 4, and Chris and Corine grew up knowing they're half-siblings, even going on vacations with them. But they say there was a darker family secret, something Chris's sisters are talking about tonight, that may help explain why Chris took that fateful hike.
My earliest memories are just, you would feel the charge in the air. I mean, it was always there, but it would intensify.
Next, domestic strife brought to life in a movie. Corine says her dad was often terrifying.
Dad just hauled off and, punched him right on the spine.
And secrets between siblings. What drove Chris McCandless into the wild? Corine reveals letters from her brother that she's kept hidden for over 20 years.
I'll be through with them once and for all, forever.